All right, looks like we're connected. All right, we're live. Hello, everyone. This is the Existentialist. I'm Tony B. What's going on? We're gonna have a shorter episode. I know I could run on for like hours. I do have a Zoom virtual kind of meeting going on with professors from Northeastern Illinois University. We're gonna talk about predictions. I hope to put out a video about that. See what they say before the November 3rd, before the elections end. So I'm here to talk about the fair tax. If you missed it, there was an independent political organization by the name of Rizoma Collective. Rizoma Collective is based in Cicero and Berwyn and other surrounding suburban areas of Cook County. So this IPO hosted, which I was a part of this, so I'll put in the link description if you want to watch it. They had State Representative Edgar Gonzalez of the 21st District in Illinois. He was talking about why people should feel encouraged to vote yes on the fair tax, and I was one of the hosts. It was bilingual town hall, and I was the English, while my buddy Esteban Rodriguez was the Spanish moderator. So we were asking questions about the fair tax Illinois, and I want to go over some of the things we talked about. Because this is going to be hopefully a final push for me. That way I can stop talking about fair tax. But yes, vote fair tax. Let me just make sure that I can stream this, because I like starting watch parties. Gets the people going. Yeah, that's not. Here, I'm going to open up a separate window. Thank you out there for viewing. This is annoying. All right. What was that? Okay. Let me just set something up. My apologies once again. Thank you for joining us. Facebook. What's going on, Facebook? Alright, we're going to close you. We don't know what you are anyway. That's why I don't want to do it. Huh. Says here that I'm live on Facebook, but I don't see myself. If you see me on Facebook, please tell me something. That's usually where. Oh, there it is. Go live. I'm a doofus. Sorry for the YouTube viewers. I did get my Facebook streaming up. My YouTube stream is up. Here we go. Yes, that is wonderful. Let me just make sure. For the Facebook viewers, thank you to the YouTube viewers. Right now, we'll be talking about fair tax. Last week, I was in a virtual town hall via Zoom with State Representative Edgar Gonzalez of the 21st District in Illinois. And he was talking about fair tax. I was one of the moderators. It was the IPO Rizoma Collective. I'll leave a bunch of resources. Hopefully, I get to it in the links. That way, you can learn more about Rizoma Collective. The fair tax, I'm going to be dropping some facts, hopefully. And then if you want the viewers, you could check me on these facts. But I am a staunch advocate of the fair tax amendment that's proposed November 3rd on the 2020 ballot in Illinois. What this essentially will do is, right now the current tax system, the state income tax, is a flat tax system, meaning every Illinois resident that lives here will have to pay a 4.95 tax rate. That means everyone, no matter what you make, everyone pays 4.95% in taxes. What the fair tax, which was being labeled with the proposed constitutional amendment on the November 3rd ballot, if passed, what it's saying is there will become marginal brackets created. And what the marginal tax rate is essentially, here's the bill that was passed separate from the amendment. It proposes that anyone that makes $0 to $10,000, those individuals will only pay about 4.95 25. Let me, you know what? I like illustrations. Let me show you an illustration. That way it's better comprehended. But the idea is that every dollar after that bracket will be taxed at a different rate. So let's just say, hypothetically, someone that makes $0 to $10,000 a year, they will pay 1% in taxes. And then that $10,001, so every $1 after that $10, it enters into a new bracket. And that new dollar and every dollar after that within this new bracket will be charged 2%. And let's just say that new bracket goes from 10,000 to 100,000. Every single dollar after 10,000 will be taxed. So your first $10,000 is taxed at 1%. Every dollar after $10,000 is taxed at 2%. So then the next bracket, right, that's what it does. It creates these brackets to tax people at different incomes differently. I think I just said differently twice and shouldn't have done that. But let me pull this up for you, because it's actually very interesting to have illustrations. Me talking all day, not so helpful, right? Where is it? Is it here? I know I've seen this sucker. I had it pulled up. Okay, that's not it either. Here it is. Okay. Sorry for having you wait. I'm gonna disappear for a moment. There it is. Okay. So, I was wrong about my accuracy. So I had to pull this up. It's very helpful. And make sure you subscribe to The Existentialist on our YouTube channel. And like us on Facebook. I do always want to encourage people to engage in conversation. Tomorrow I have a friend of mine, an organizer, coming on to talk about the civil disobedience and civil unrest. We'll be discussing these topics and other progressive ideas that are on the fray and can be seen as radical. So please join us tomorrow live as I talk with a friend of mine and an organizer locally on our virtual stream, right? Join us and converse with us. It should be great conversation. But here is the tax bracket that I was speaking on, right? So this is the proposed. This is Illinois SB 687. This actually passed in 2019. Someone could correct me on that, but this passed already. Problem with this proposal is it cannot go into law because the flat tax rate in the Illinois Constitution. The Illinois Constitution right now says that if you tax someone at a specific rate, you have to tax all Illinois residents. Now that seems fair enough as it is, right? Why is it that the higher income earners have to pay more? Well, I'll get into that. But this is while the flat tax current rate is 4.95, the idea is to change it. Change it here. And here's the illustrations. I want to get my volume level correct because I can be very loud. I was told by some viewers that I'm very loud. As you can see in the first marginal rate, right, the first income bracket, if you make up to, so $0 to $10,000, every dollar within that bracket will be taxed at 4.75. 4.75. Why am I feel like, my apologies, people. My sincerest apologies. I feel like Facebook is not live right now. Oh, it is. Ooh. We live on Facebook, everybody. My apologies. Nope. I really have to figure out these. Hey, what up, Zaria Argueta? Shout out to you. Shout out to Steve Benavides. Thank you for viewing. I really am frustrated because I want to. Oh, wow. Well, that's not what I want to do. I'm on Facebook. I hear people say they can hear me well, so that's a good thing. We're moving in the right direction. Boom, there I am. I can see myself now. Yeah, share. No. Write a post. What happened to the watch party option? You know what, Facebook? You really got to get your shit together. Maybe it's just me. I need to learn how to use this a little better. Share to a group. No. Start a damn watch party. My apologies, friends and viewers. I just want to make sure that I get this going. Okay, I got 2 shares. Thank you for the shares. Let's share it right here. Copy. Okay, we're going to copy link. Whatever, I guess. None of this ever makes any sense. I just want to start a watch party, and they won't let me. Huh. Interesting. Shit. Let's see, I want to have people on, and I can't even get these things together. Right? It's so frustrating. Why can't you just... Here's what I'll do for a second. Let me just make sure... Save video, edit post, copy link. We already talked about all those options. And we are... Conversation to... All right. Okay. I'm sorry for stalling. I'm getting used to all this stuff. No excuses. But let's get back to it. If you're just checking in, remember we're talking about fair tax Illinois, and SB 687 is not the proposed amendment on the November 3rd, 2020 ballot in Illinois. This was passed. But if the proposed amendment to the Illinois Constitution passes, this is what will happen. These are the tax rates that are being recommended. Okay, so up to $10,000, every dollar will be taxed at a 4.75 marginal rate. Okay, that's what that is. So 4.75 marginal rate for every dollar at $0 to $10,000. Okay, and then there's the second bracket. Now this second bracket is where the majority, for me, I think, at least those that I affiliate with, this is where a lot of it comes from. This is where a lot of us lie. And if you're listening to this, I can honestly say, I don't think I have any family members, maybe some. If I do, there are a small percentage that make over $100,000. But for the majority, you are making from $10,000 to $100,000. I have a Facebook friend, Richard. Richard brings up a good point. So right now the current tax rate during the flat tax is 4.95 on everyone. If the proposed amendment passes this November, you will see that anyone that makes from $10,000 to $100,000 a year, every dollar from that point will be taxed at 4.90%. So remember, 0 to 10,000, you're always going to be taxed at 4.75%. That's what the marginal system does. And then 10,001 to $100,000, you'll be taxed at a new rate. Every single dollar will be taxed at a newer rate, 4.90%. So it's only like a 0.5% reduction for you. If you're probably the majority that are listening right now. So that's a good thing, right? That's a good thing, but it's like I was talking with my friend on Facebook, Richard. He has a point. It's almost insulting because it's not sufficient to our needs. If we could get a larger decrease in taxes, I'm pretty sure people would feel it. Annually, though, proponents like myself will argue, hey, when it comes to your annual total of what you saved, you're going to like that money. You're going to be able to pay for car insurance, buy groceries, treat yourself as something simple and nice. Not a lot of money, but still. That's what the proposed amendment will go to. And then it goes into a third bracket. The $101,000, so every dollar after 100 to 250, so $250,000, they will remain the same. They will remain under 4.95%. So their taxes won't change. Anyone who makes under $101,000, you will see a 0.05% reduction or let me get it right, a 20%, 0.20% reduction. But everyone between $101,000 to $250,000, those people will stay the same. And then this is where the fourth bracket comes in. And this is where the outrage is, because you have these people calling this a tax hike. And you know what? For this population, it is a tax hike. It is. And I'm for it. I'm for this tax hike on these individuals. I have not every individual that makes this income is some kind of malignant individual or group of people. But I'll go into the reasons why. So you can see anyone who makes $1 over $250,000. So anyone who makes $250 and $1 all the way to $350,000. You know, it's very, very strange for me. Very strange that the other brackets, they seem, right, you're talking about $10,000 to $100,000. That's a $90,000 difference. And then you talk about $100,000 to $250,000. That is $150,000. So these are big gaps in the difference. But then the fourth bracket, it's only $100,000 difference as well compared to the third bracket. Well, I guess they're pretty similar. The fourth bracket is a 7.75% marginal rate. That means every dollar after $250,000 and up to $350,000 will be taxed at 7.75% marginal tax rate. And then the next bracket, right, number 5, $350,000 and $1,000, all the way to $750,000, they will be taxed at 7.85%. See, that's the big one, right? That's the $400,000 difference. $400,000, but those individuals get lumped, even though it's a larger amount, but the percentage of those people that make the money is relatively small. They'll be paying more, right? You can see. And then the next bracket, anyone that makes $1 more than the $750 and above, they will stay at a constant rate of 7.99%. And remember, the marginal tax rate is clear. It's every dollar that it starts with that marginal tax bracket. So remember, you're let's just say for sake of conversation, you're listening and you are a millionaire. $750,000 will not, anything below $750,000 will not be taxed at 7.99%. Only the dollar after that amount and every dollar after will be charged for 7.99%. And for that same person, they are just paying this variety of taxes on different dollar amounts. So that's what his marginal means, right? Not every dollar that one person makes is going to be taxed at 7.99%. No, it's only within those brackets. That's what the marginal tax bracket means. So meaning that a lot of people are still going to be good, they're going to be comfortable, but there are opponents against this system. So I hope this is clear. I hope this is clear for people. I really do, because for me, I see fairness in it. And the reason why I see fairness in it is because these wealthy people, they have access to our political and government institutions, our political establishments. They have access, and guess what? They could pay lobbyists. They could put people on the streets by paying them thousands, tens of thousands. They could put up their money. It's called an oligarchy, right? The oligarchy comes when there's these extremely powerful and wealthy people who have a political voice, and their political voice is measured by the amount of money they can throw at a political issue. And so that's a very interesting part about it. That's the political inequality about it. Not only do they have access to the lobbyists to push politicians in Springfield to write laws on their behalf, not only do they have the cell phone numbers and the emails, the direct contacts. I mean, a lot of people might have it, but it's like they're in line. They're in the front line. And if they want to talk to a politician because they're funding their campaign, they're going to get instant access compared to the rest of us. That's not a good formula for a democracy. So next to that, though, was what I was saying is they have this ability to outweigh your political voice. You can go out and organize in the streets. You can door knock. Guess what they can do? You, that one person, you are not equal to their political power. Objectively, you're not. Because they can hire 100 people to go knock on doors on their behalf. And it outweighs your political voice. Yes, those 100 people, they have united and they have decided their voice matters, so they're consolidating their voices. So yeah, when you do that, but the idea is that they're getting paid to do these kind of things. And what comes with wealth is the ability to persuade, to win people over, to get them under your belt. You know, if you got people, if you're under someone that is paying you, that's your interest. You know, you're getting paid. Your economic interests are going to come first. So I'm not shaming those 100 people who take the money. But when it comes to this power to organize in such a way that drowns out the voice of the working class and the low-income families and even some middle-class families, that's unequal political power. And I am not for it. So I say let's tax their political power. This unequal system, the oligarchs, they have to be taxed. Hey, Christina, is this per household or individual? Actually, that's a great question. So there's two sides. I want to pull up the window that shows this. There it is. Oh, okay. So as you can see here, Christina, if you're listening right now, this is just for a single. Right, and then this is the joint household. Very similar. Very similar. So for a married couple, they're combined, their joint income. Let's say the married couple makes, let's say they make $150,000. They're gonna be stuck at the same rate, the current rate. That's what that joint income is, because that's the current rate. The current rate is 4.95%. The next rate, if this proposed amendment passes in November, that means everyone else will pay this rate if they're joint income or single. See how it's very similar? Oh, no, well, okay. No, there is a slight difference. For joint people, if you make $251 to $500, so $500,000, your joint income will be similar to this one, which ends at $350,000. So there, hey, look at that. Joint income. So yeah, I hope that answers your question, Christina. Thank you for asking the question. But yes, a lot of us are here. 4.90%. And that means your taxes will be reduced by 0.05%. It's not a lot. I get it. And if you make over $1 over $100,000, every dollar after that will be taxed at 4.95%. I get it. So essentially, even if you make $1 more than $100,000 as a married couple or a single couple, every dollar before that extra dollar after $100,000, you will see a tax reduction, a 0.05 tax reduction to every dollar, but nonetheless a tax reduction. And those dollars add up. It's not significant to our needs. I agree with that. Once again, I shout out to my Facebook friend, Richard. I believe he identifies as a libertarian. I can sympathize with what he's saying. But that's where we're at right now. And once again, I'm a proponent. I say vote yes on fair tax. So I want to show you something very, very interesting about what I'm talking about when it comes to political power. I just want to show you some of the polls. This was done. I think we're going to win, everyone, which is good news. But polls are indicative of possibilities, not accuracy. That's why you see the margin of error. Their sampling size considers that, different variables. I hate research. I love it, but I hate it. So 67%, according to the University of Illinois Springfield survey that was done last year, they support it. People agree. There is a consensus in America, in Illinois, that the rich need to pay their fair share. This isn't controversial, but they like to push a campaign that it's a tax hike. This is from Ballotpedia, if you're interested. So I want to show you this. And let me zoom in there. Shout out to the Existentialists. If you haven't done it already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, The Existentialists. We like to talk about political and social issues of our time. Try to keep an open mind, even though I advocate for my leftist agenda, as some would like to say. But these are some of the contributors to the campaign against this proposed tax amendment that I want. They're against the fair tax. Look at that. Look at that money. Oh, yeah. Sexy money. Look at them dollars. Kenneth Griffin, he's actually well-known millionaire. Is it millionaire? 100 millionaire? Maybe he's a billionaire. Someone check that for me. Look at him. So instead of Griffin allowing the state to tax him at a higher rate, a marginal rate, he's against it. So he decides to contribute $53 million, $53,750,000 cash contributions. He's openly donating to stop the fair tax amendment. He's using his political capital to pay for organizations to promote that this fair tax is a tax hike. It's a tax hike on you, Kenneth Griffin. But this is the amount of money that he's putting forward. $53,750,000. He has that money just laying around, and he says, you know what? I'm going to use my political voice to drown out the voices of 67%, according to certain polls. 67% of Illinois residents agree with this, a Democratic voice. And he says, you know what? No, my $53 million wants to drown out your voice. And then Samuel's Zell Revocable Trust, that's just a trust. It's not an actual person, it's an organization. They're putting their money up too, $1,100,000. You have Illinois Opportunity Project, almost $1 million at this point. And then Jennifer Pritzker, this made the headlines. Jennifer Pritzker Pritzker. She is, I believe, the cousin of our governor, of our great governor. Illinois Business Alliance, so that's just a bunch of businesses coming together. And that's the hardest one when you see businesses doing this. I challenge corporations because they exploit their workers. They don't pay them enough. They have stupid work conditions that go against workers' rights. So I challenge business and corporations, but sometimes it's hard to swallow because these might be businesses where you work. This might be businesses where a family owns this business. So I try to keep an open mind and considering who are these businesses and what are their interests, because they put up almost $300,000 against this. Now, I actually talked to the Illinois state rep of the 21st District in Illinois, Edgar Gonzalez. Once again, that was on Rizoma Collective's behalf. I was talking to him, and he said that this is actually, he proposed that this was good for business. This fair tax amendment is going to be great for business. It's not as scary as people, these donors are. Kenneth Griffin and the tax hike propagators are proposing. Right? So Edgar Gonzalez had mentioned, oh, you're welcome, Christinas. Now we just need to vote. That is correct. Vote. And not only vote, but we need to organize. And I'll get into that later. But I want to touch on this idea, what Edgar had brought to me. Edgar had brought to me this idea that we need to recognize how this is going to benefit the businesses, small businesses. Because there was a scare from from the tax hike people, right? These tax hike donors on the list. So I'm going to pull back up real quick. Oop, too fast, too furious. Senate Bill 6. Oop, let's zoom out. So, Representative Gonzalez had brought up the fact that imagine a small business makes this right here. 1 year they just make this much money. Right? That means they're going to pay 4.95% a marginal tax rate. Every dollar after 100,000. So every dollar between this amount right here, they'll pay 4.95%. That's what they'll be taxed on if they make that income. Now imagine the following year that business booms, it picks up. So that means that business, every dollar after that $250,000, see that $1 going all the way 350, every dollar will be taxed at 7.75%. All these, the original dollars, 101 to 250, that will be taxed at 4.95 for the business. Every dollar for that business from 10,001 to 100,000 will be taxed at 4.9% at margin rate for that income of that business. You see what I'm saying here? Like only certain dollar amounts will be taxed at a higher rate. Now, if that business doesn't do as good the third year, and they make once again between here, right? First year they made right here. Second year they made here, and they saw a tax hike on themselves. But then the following year, if they don't do as good, boom, they go back to that marginal tax rate. It's good for businesses because you don't know what year you'll be successful for you and will be a hit for you, right? It would take a downturn for you. So this is going to be a good tax rate. It's not fair. While a corporation makes millions of dollars, they're paying the same rate as these smaller businesses. See, the millionaires and the heavy corporations, they want to make these small businesses believe, like, we're in the same boat, son. No, you're not in the same boat. You don't have the capital to sway the public. You don't have the lobbyists the way that these corporations do. You really don't. The political power is unequal, and the small businesses would actually favor from this tax system. That's what the conversation with Representative Gonzalez was. So I'm actually going to take this window down now so you can see my beautiful face. Oh yeah, that's Ballotpedia. Oop. There it is. Okay. I am terrible at this. Fair tax, Illinois. Vote yes. Yes, 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 y'all. So, I am going to have to sign off soon. Please comment, share. Let's have a deeper conversation. I kind of wanted to make this last video, but it looks like I'm going to have to make another video because I'll be signing out before 7. But I want to wrap up what I'll put in the link. I'll put the link to the video that Rizoma Collective had with State Representative Edgar Gonzalez. It is in bilingual. This was very concerning for me because the implication is, and one of the Rizoma Collective viewers, he mentioned he felt like if we didn't vote for the Fair Tax Amendment, it was pretty much, it felt like we were being extorted as voters, as Illinois residents. It was a form of extortion. And the reason why he believed that, because I asked Edgar, Representative Gonzalez, hey, what happens if this Fair Tax Amendment doesn't pass? And the governor has said, taxes are going to raise on people if this doesn't happen. Many people have said on the Democratic side, yeah, taxes are going to rise on other people if this fair tax. So that's why I felt like extortion. You're saying if this doesn't pass, the middle class is going to suffer, the working class is going to suffer. And I had to push Representative Gonzalez on this point because it just seemed that's what it was saying. I really asked, so where do you find the money? Where does the revenue come from? And he was I feel like he was gracious with his answer because there was a level of honesty, but he didn't want to say it. a young representative. I admire him. I'm very jealous. I wish I was a representative. Vote for me, Tony B. He was saying that no one wants to tax retirement. They can. The tax hike propagators, they say, oh, this will make it easier to tax retirement income. Actually, they have that power already. They can raise taxes on everyone right now. They don't need this amendment. They just don't do it because it's not politically viable. If they try to tax the rich at 7%, everyone has to pay 7%, and there will be an uprising, a democratic uprising, and throwing J.B. Pritzker out of office, throwing Democrats out of office. So they paint it as, no, it's not politically feasible. That's why they want to separate it in brackets. But Edgar was saying that him, like other people, they don't want to look for other revenue by trying to tax retirement, taxing middle class, taxing lower income, working class income. They don't want to do that. But it sounds like out of desperation, if they don't do that, they're going to make massive cuts, budget cuts to healthcare, to education, to infrastructure, mental health, you name it. There will just be tax cuts, austerity measures, right? Austerity being that you kind of cut government spending, but government spending that is critical to the safety and the health of Illinois residents. So if you see those budget cuts, there will be austerity measures because while you're trying to save the government money, you're hurting the very people that money helps. He's saying that no one wants to do that in Springfield, wrong place. So he said that, and it gives this implication that they will do it if this fair tax isn't passed. So I say, hey, let's not give them the idea out of desperation that they have to come for us. Because they know if they did that to us, there would be many who sit around and accept it. Then there would be a lot of us that try to vote them out. And then there would be another group of people that know that voting is not the only thing. That's where comes Christina's comment. Voting isn't the only thing. You have to organize. I encourage people to join independent political organizations like Rizoma Collective. I encourage people to join IPOs in your neighborhood. You don't have to join establishment parties, the Democrats or Republicans, to make a change in your community. Things have to be local. So that's why we organize. Politics is mostly about activism and pushing the political agenda of those in power. And right now, those that organize and those that have the most power in organizing are those with the most money. That's what we compete with on a daily. When you organize in the streets as working class people, you compete against the organizations of the very wealthy. But that's part of the democracy we have. So it worries me that it does feel like extortion because they're out of desperation. They are going to either tax people higher. They're always going to raise the taxes. That's the monetary system. But even though they're always going to do it, they can do it gradually or they can do it immediate, which is going to hurt people in the now. Gradually, it might not, as long as wages are going up, as long as revenue's coming into the state. Yeah, the monetary system, it has that built in. Taxes will always rise. They'll always fall. The dollar will lose its power. But it's really about the austerity measures when you cut government spending to programs that actually help people. And I understand I'm going to have a conversation with Anarchist and the Marlboro Man, hopefully next week, maybe in 2 weeks, about this position of statism and how we need to move away from a centralized government and we need to move more into local pockets. I'm a progressive. I'm a progressive. I'm a leftist radical. Right now, I am a fan of the centralized system to an extent, but I sympathize with anarchists and Marlboro Man on Wham Radio. That's Wham Radio. I understand what they're saying. There was a last fear that I want to touch on before I leave you. And that last fear, I'm gonna do another segment on this. I have to because there was so much that I read on. I just talk so damn much. Uh, Another fear after talking to Representative Gonzalez is, okay, they're gonna find their money somehow, but there's nothing that guarantees that the raised revenue from the fair tax, if it passes in November, there's nothing that suggests in this amendment or SB 687, nothing suggests that they're going to spend that money on us. Well, I don't want to say, they always spend their money on us, but on things we need. Just because they have the money and the wealthy cave, that doesn't mean the revenue that they raise from taxing the wealthy is going to be spent on healthcare, education, infrastructure. There's nothing that guarantees it. So the right-wing propagators there, they have a point. And Representative Gonzalez admitted it. Yeah, nothing guarantees that they're going to spend on education, healthcare, or infrastructure, or anything that matters. Early childhood development, childcare. Nothing. No, they're not guaranteeing anything. But he made a very, very crucial point. That is why we need to organize. That is why voting isn't the only power that us as political actors, us as residents have. So I would say that we have to organize locally. We need to push those in office to sway that revenue into infrastructure, healthcare, education, the things that matter to us, the necessities. We need to push. We can't just vote yes. And that's where people stop. So I encourage you, join, organize. Support someone that's organizing. Share things on Facebook, inform people. If you see someone politically organizing, that doesn't mean you have to get out of the house and do it yourself. It helps if you can, but some people have families, some people have kids, have elderly to take care of. They have 2-3 jobs. They're business people. They don't have the time, but sometimes they have the financing, so you can donate to causes. But it's all about the local organizing. So that's definitely something we should consider, because if we pass the fair tax, nothing is guaranteed that they're going to spend the money where we most need it. So that's why we need to activate our true political power and organize. We can't let the wealthy keep out organizing us. So locally, get involved in it whatever way you can. I want to give a shout out to Christina Sanchez, thank you for being a viewer. Zaria Argueta, thank you for sharing and being a viewer. Steve Benavides, thank you for sharing, being a viewer. And of course, let me give a final shout out to Gerardo Macedo and Van Rollington from Almost Positive. Check out Almost Positive on Spotify. I just did a podcast episode on Do Not Crucify Me. When you listen to it, it was a great time talking to Van Rollington and Sir Rollington of Almost Positive on Spotify. And tomorrow, check me out with a friend of mine and a local organizer, Luis. We'll be talking about the possible civil unrest, civil disobedience, other progressive and left radical concepts. So please join us tomorrow as we converse on a very, very touchy topic for people. I'll just comment real quick. I have Gerardo Macedo. I will address your question the next time around. Please hold me to it and say, hey, Tony, you liar. How is giving government officials more money going to fix a broken tax system? Why hasn't the state balanced its spending budget instead of increasing individual taxes? How about adding taxes on businesses? Oh, wait, that would just run companies away and lose jobs. Edgar actually said that's not true, and I want to create another video. I think, Gerardo, you have... I sympathize with those concerns. There are studies out there, and everyone here on Facebook, YouTube, you could check it. The wealthy rarely leave the state when there's a tax hike on them. I'm looking at studies, and I wanted to quote more of it, but I do have to go. Van Rollington, as someone who's a social worker, I've personally found programs funded solely by the government lacked in quality and care. The money is there, but the people working have no incentive for quality. I moved to a program that's now 75% by private donors has a way higher quality of care. As well, my livelihood is based on my performance, not some douche in Springfield or DC. Sometimes we need to cut things that don't work. We're going to dive into that kind of commentary more in our next video. Please stay tuned. Van Rolleton, Gerardo Macedo, thank you for your hard-hitting questions. Yes, we here at the Existentials, we want to engage in those hard conversations. I'm Tony B, and I still say vote yes on Fair Tax, Illinois. All right, everyone. I have to go and catch a political conversation on the upcoming election, so I hope you have a safe COVID-19 holiday. And stay tuned tomorrow. Tune in for tomorrow. And remember, November 3rd on Election Day, we'll be doing a live coverage. Miguel, my partner, and I will have a guest, and we'll be talking about live coverage. Even though we probably won't have the results for the presidency, we'll still do some live coverage. So stay tuned. Please support us. Subscribe to our YouTube channel and like us on Facebook. Thank you, everyone.